What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Damon Speak Show. I am Bernard Damon Holcomb, and tonight I have a super duper special guest. My sister, Aundi Marie Moore, will be joining me in just a little bit. First, though, I wanted to say thank you to everyone that is always rocking with me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for the comments, for the shares, for subscribing to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate you guys. Part of what I do is for you. It started out for me. I was going through a really rough time in 2016, the summer of 2016, when I started doing these daily videos, and it just kind of caught on. And to be honest, I have struggled with engagement online and looking at the statistics and looking at the insights and being concerned about the numbers and the followers. However, without fail, and I mean without fail, someone has always come up to me. It may be in a bar in Harlem. It may have been someone in the church choir that says, thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for putting the positivity out into the world. Or you were talking about that thing last week, and that's exactly what I needed to hear. That's exactly what I was going through. So as I continue to move forward with Damon Speaks, I know that I will find some level of commercial success. I do feel that deep inside, but more than anything, you are important to me, and it's important that I continue to show up for you. So thank you for tuning in. My thought for the week comes from a video that I did with Aundi in December of 2016 about people pleasing. For whatever reason, I am, by most accounts, an extreme people pleaser. I love for other people to feel comfortable. When they feel comfortable, when I think they feel comfortable, then it allows me to relax and for me to feel comfortable. However, that creates havoc in our lives. That creates a life where you're constantly at the beck and at the call and at the mercy of someone else's feelings, what someone else is doing, what someone else is saying, what you're projecting possibly onto someone else. And we think that pleasing other people by any means necessary is going to give them what they want and also give us what they want, what we want. It's not true. We're unhappy, and they're also unhappy most of the time. And if they are happy, when we're being inauthentic or we're just like going to our end to make them happy, it's not a healthy relationship. It's toxic. So this week, I want you to practice. I want you to start to believe that maybe it's possible that you can live in a world. Why is this not working? That you can live in a world where you can stand up for yourself and where you can be yourself, where you can be your authentic self. Anyway, that's the thought for the week. I'm not going to prolong this any longer. Okay, thank you. Finally, my computer started to work. It is my extreme pleasure to bring my sister, Aundi Marie Moore, onto the show.
Hey, honey bun. I love you. Thank you for having me.
Can we just take a second? I just want to take a second to acknowledge your beauty. Like, do you realize how fine you are?
You better stop. You know I'm married. You better stop. And you know him very well. He your brother. He gonna get you. You better stop. Okay?
But for real though, you are just shining and you're just so beautiful. Inside and out.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And you're famous. So,
from your lips to God's ears, one day.
Tell the people a little bit about you. If they happen to not know who you are and what you do, tell the audience about you.
So My name is Aundi Marie Moore, and I'm so glad to be a part of Damon's Speak Show. I am Metropolitan Opera soprano, and I'm also one of the top producing realtors in the DMV area. I'm a mother of 2 wonderful children, and of course, you heard me speak about my lovely husband, Terry, and a wife. And I'm I'm one of those people that is everybody's friend, everybody's confidant. You can kind of talk to me and know that it's going to stay in me. I'm like a bolt. So I tend to be like somewhat of an advisor and counselor. And I also have No More Starving Artists. And I like to help independent artists, but mainly focusing on the performing arts to become a little bit more financially savvy.
So your wife, a mother, a performing artist, a realtor, how do you keep it all together? How are you able to not be crazy right now?
Oh no, don't get it twisted now. She a little cray, okay? She a little cray. Um, so don't get it twisted. It's a lot. But it's how I'm wired. I just really believe that, some people just know what they're good at and they can focus on it and really hone in on those skills. And I have tapped into that and I just stick with what I'm really, really good at. And it becomes easy. It's not too much of a strain. But now don't get me wrong. I do have sleepless nights. I do have moments that I'm a little crazy. Like today was a Monday and, deals, I'm just like holding deals like this, trying to keep them up. So it just depends, but it's my life and I enjoy it.
So was there, from the outside looking in,
Mhm.
you have this fabulous life, wife, mother, you have all these things, which are blessings. But let's say when you were younger, was this the life, first of all, was this the life that you thought you would be living right now?
No. The life that I thought I was going to be living is that I would be singing all over the world and I was going to be a super duper famous opera singer. And I would not be with a husband. I would have lovers, no children. That was my idea. However, I have to say that God knows best. And the life that I am in right now is better than I could have ever imagined. Those 2 little boys are my world. And, it's nice to be able to come off the stage or come out of the business room and come home and I hear, Mommy, I missed you. Mommy, I love you. And my husband tell me, girl, you so fine, had a little slice. It's nice, to have that. It's better than I imagined. It's better than I imagined. So, but no, I did not imagine this for myself, but I'm so grateful.
This is super powerful because a lot of us as performing artists and people that grew up and that were groomed to think that, singing at these houses or performing all over the world is the only way that you're going to be happy and it's the only way that you're going to be validated. For you to have this life and for it to be so wonderful and so beautiful and so fulfilling, I wish that I had known this when I were younger and it would have taken the pressure off and I probably would have enjoyed the journey a little bit more.
To be honest, I wish I had known it too, because I would have enjoyed the journey a little bit more as well. When my husband asked me to marry him, I had, initially said, well, let me just wait. We can get engaged, but I want to wait until I'm famous before we can get married. And he was like, so what? Hey girl. So did you hear what I said? I'm going to marry you. And I was like, yeah. So yeah, I'm not famous yet. So we should wait. And to be honest, he was the one to teach me that you should never wait for your life to begin. You are living life right now. And COVID has really shined all of that on us that, this is the time to live life because life is short. It's not promised to anyone. Even though we feel like, oh, we're young and invincible, it's not promised. So I encourage people to not wait for anything. And if you are in that holding pattern, start making plans now. Start, looking at that place that you've been wanting to go to, and start saving your money or whatever you need to do to prepare for it, and start actually planning the trip out. Or if that man that you've been waiting to marry and you told him, oh, stop, let's just wait till we get out of COVID because I don't want to be in mask. Honey, life isn't promised.
Mm.
Y'all better dress that mask up and walk down that aisle. Dress it up, honey.
That is a mighty word. And that was going to be one of my questions to you. I was going to ask you what the biggest lesson was for you coming out of 2020 and coming out of a global pandemic. Would you say that it's living in the moment every day, like right now?
Well, yes. For me, my lesson was a little different because I felt like I was living prior to COVID. I made that vow to myself, especially once my father passed, to not wait for anything because I thought he died too young. Mm-hmm. However, for me, my lesson with COVID was you're never too prepared. You're never financially too prepared. And I thought I was prepared. And COVID was like, oh, you think you prepared, honey? Let me show you. So that's what COVID taught me, that you need to be even more prepared than you think. And even when a pandemic hit, you're still not prepared enough. So you got to be able to ride the wave and just do your best. But that's what that really shined a light on my finances for me. Mm-hmm. COVID did that for me.
So you started No More Starving Artists.
I did.
And you do Financial Freedom Friday every Friday. I'm telling you, people share those posts. People like those posts. People, I'm sure, are in your inbox like, oh,
they are. And I mean, some folks, kind of get a little mad with my little posts. They think something different and they believe something different. And I'm like, okay, it's good to have your own opinion. This is my opinion, Mm-hmm. And I like to post about those types of things too. But yes, I started No More Starving Artists because I just felt like we were too hush hush about finances and what we're doing and, and how are we surviving? And the reality was a lot of us weren't surviving at all. A lot of us were struggling and just making ends meet, and you're doing this job and that gig and really not getting any rest in between. You're not really taking care of self because you're so worried about how are you going to pay the bills? You have the rent or the mortgage due, So that's why I started it, because I saw where I was and I was like, you know what? If I'm in this place in space, somebody else might be too, and they may need a little help. So I gave them my little tips.
I feel like that's when we really start living a fulfilled, happy life that's on purpose. Like whatever we've been through, that's part of the reason why I started Damon Speaks. The Damon Speaks show is to help, let people come onto the show, tell their story authentically with vulnerability in the hopes of helping someone else that may be out there that may be dealing with the same thing.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. I love your show. I'm one of your fans.
You're one of my biggest fans.
I love you. Yeah, I'm one of your fans because I look at all these little TikTok videos that you do. I feel how, you're so bold. And, some of the things that you do, I could never do because I'm it's so crazy, but I'm a shy performer, if that makes sense. I'm shy. And so to do those types of things, I'm like, he's so cool. And it's funny. And I'm always laughing with tears in my eyes. So, I really appreciate what you are doing and the light that you are shining and some of the things that you're bringing up. And you try to bring it up in a humorous way, but they're serious issues and things that people have to deal with or face. I think it's so smart how you're at least trying to address the issue and, plant the seed.
Ooh, thank you so much for that. But I gotta tell all y'all, I'm a nervous performer as well. I'm actually very shy.
No.
Force myself to post these
I don't believe you. Your hip was up there twerking. Okay. Okay. That ain't shy. Okay. I even tried it behind closed doors. My husband watched. He was like, "What are you doing, babe?" Before I knew I was in the flow. No poo poo. Twerking.
Listen, I feel like since I have some like bit of confidence, I have to put it out there because hashtag feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah.
And, like, let me tell you, it's a lot of things going on over here. Like, it's a lot of meat. It's a lot of like shaking. But I shake it and I do what I can because I know that there's some young man or some young woman out there that is like me, that grew up being bullied relentlessly, that was told they were ugly, that was told that they were fat, that was told that no one would ever want to be with them. Ooh, don't get them. Woo! Come on, Damon Speaks. And so I can put that energy out into the world.
Yeah.
Perhaps it will save a life.
It will. I mean, to be honest, it really, really will. Since I've been doing No More Starving Artists, one of my bullies because I was bullied terribly as a child, one of them actually reached out to me through social media and apologized. And let me tell you, when I read the message in my message box, I like the womb was opened again, and I just, just terrible crying, like that heaving type of cry. And I didn't know what to say. I didn't know to say thank you. I didn't know to say that I forgive you. I didn't know what to say, but it took me a minute to respond. But it did open one of those those big wounds that I had covered up, closed the door, threw a blanket over it, all of those things. So being on social media does open up. It opens you up to not only critique, but also for people to actually be able to hope that you forgive them and vice versa. So I appreciate what you do, and you are helping somebody. You really are. And I realize that even more so when I do No More Starving Artists, because just like you, people will stop me. And, especially when I was in New York a lot, and they'll be like, "Oh my God, your tip about," and I'm like, "Oh, y'all really listen?" Because, when you be looking at your little views and you say, "Oh, I got 20 views." Oh, okay.
It's real.
Be like, "Oh, okay, 20 views. Nobody cares." Okay.
It's like the world, like nobody cares about me. I should just give up.
I was like, I just should quit. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. But I do it anyway because I do enjoy it. And somebody is listening. And if it can help somebody along the way, then my living is not in vain.
Oh, I felt that in my belly. I literally did. I'm not lying. Because I can play, but I really felt that in my belly. So tell us a little bit about your journey. Were you always financially astute? Were you raised in a home where you saw like the finances being taken care of? Did you depart from that? Like, give us the tea.
No, I was not always financially astute. I was terrible with finances. Now, my parents, they may have been pretty good with money. I don't, if we struggled as a child, for me, if my parents were struggling in my child life, I didn't know. They hid it very well if we did struggle. However, they didn't really teach me all of what I know now. When my savviness of finances came along is once I got married, and every time I said to my husband, "Hey, I want, I would like to go and do this or that," and he'll just be like, "No, no, no, we ain't got, we don't have the money for that. We don't have the money for that, honey." After he told me no 3 times, I was like, "Oh, she got to figure something out, okay? Because she can't take another no. Okay, she can't take another no." So after that, honey, I decided to go and pursue real estate and become a real estate agent. And with that pursuit, I did not realize that I would be as good as I am with being a realtor. Didn't realize it. I didn't know that that was one of my gifts. It just happened. And now, I mean, of course we share some of our finances, but now I don't have to ask nobody for nothing. If it's something I want to do, I can save my money and do it.
You know what? This is super important because a lot of people like me, the Lord is still dealing with me, think that marriage is just going to be like, oh, it's so perfect. And he's always going to say yes, or she's always going to do what I want. But that wasn't the case. I mean, you love down, like you love in love, still together.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a time where he was like, no, you can't do this.
Right. And I mean, and to be honest, he still tells me no. He'd be like, no, we're not doing that. I said, what? Huh? So, I mean, and I respect him. And then, we have to have a discussion about it. And then sometimes, he does win the discussion because it makes financial sense not to do something or to do, but we definitely discuss it out. Marriage is not a one-way street. It definitely takes two people, communication. It definitely takes love and most of all respect. We don't call each other out each other's names. We don't put our hands on each other in any kind of inappropriate way. So it definitely, that's what marriage is. Respect, love.
Listen, I've been kind of coming into myself, and whenever I've been in a relationship, I've always just laid down and like was always compromising. And I think that took some of the fire out of relationships, because I always say that like when you rub your hands together, the friction causes heat, and I want my relationship to have a little heat. So I think I'm kind of looking forward to the arguments.
Oh no, I'm gonna tell you, don't be looking forward to them, because you will be mad and be like, you know what? I'm leaving you. Okay, I done said that so many times.
But look, the makeup,
it make you mad. It make you mad.
But the makeup,
it's nice.
I think more than anything, it's come on, Lord. More than anything, it's feeling like it's okay to be myself.
Yeah.
I'm coming from that people pleasing background and always worried about the other person, like knowing that I can stand in my authenticity and that you're actually gonna like show up tomorrow and like still be with me. That's hot. That's great. I can't wait.
Yeah, no, you definitely have to be yourself. You have to be who you are, because when you're not, it doesn't work. And something my mother told me was, the way you start a relationship is the way the relationship will go. So if you allow foolishness and them to walk over you, talk to you sideways, do all kind of crazy, that's how it's going to go. And they're not going to know how to shift when you have grown to say, no, I'm not handling that. So, I mean, I really took that at heart. The way you start a relationship is the way the relationship will go. And so I already saw him saying no a whole lot. I was like, oh, she need a job. She need to do something. She need some money. Can't be fooling with him.
Hey Mia, I love you, boo. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tell us, why real estate? Did you always think like, okay, maybe this will be a thing? Did someone say, oh, you know what, I think you'll be good at this?
No, actually, I've always liked looking at houses. Even as a little girl, my mom and I would get in the car and drive to I'm from Chesapeake, Virginia, and it was a place called Emerald Greens, and all in that particular neighborhood were all mansions. And Mama and I would say, "Oh, that's gonna be my house," or "That's gonna be my house," and we would dream together, my mom and I. So I've always liked houses. I just didn't even know anything about selling them. And it wasn't until I was in a young artist program at Washington National singing, and I was bold enough to ask Placido Domingo, how do you stay rich? I say, how do you stay rich, Maestro? And he bust out laughing and he told me real estate. And I didn't know, I knew he wasn't selling real estate, but he owned real estate, and that's how you can grow assets. So when I came home, I was dating Terry at the time. I told him, hey, Maestro told me real estate is how he stays rich, and he said, well, you should think about selling it, because that's a way for you to get in, because Terry at the time was investing. He was an investor. And so I said, oh, no, I don't think I want to do that. And I kind of went into the class kicking and screaming because my program was coming to an end. I was newly married with Terry, and things financially were not working well with us. And so I just said, okay, let me just go ahead and just bite the bullet and get this license, because it only was, it's only a 2 week, 2.5 week course. So once I did that, I was like, okay, let's see what I can do with it. And I'm gonna be honest, the first year I really didn't do much. I sold one house, because I was so focused on singing still and thinking and believing that that was going to be my bread and butter.
Mhm.
The kick in the butt really didn't come until I got pregnant with my first son, Tyler. And Terry and I were having a conversation about education and about what was needed for the boy, for my son, Tyler, at the time. And Terry's ideas were just not in line with mine. And he was like, "Oh, that's gonna cost money for that." Da, da, da. And I was like, "Say what?" Uh, oh, okay. So that really did it for me. That was the transition. That particular year, I was pregnant, waddling on the corner. Who want a house? You want a house? You want a house? You want a house? Come on, come and buy a house from me. And that was my first big year of selling. And that was probably the most money I had made ever in life at the time, even between singing and, real estate. It was the most money I had made, because I was refusing to accept that that my son would not have what I wanted to provide him. And, the life that I kind of grew up with, like I said, my parents, I don't know if we struggled. They didn't show me, but I definitely didn't want to, if that is going to be, if that was our story, I didn't want to show my son either.
Mm. You were hustling. You bought that Lexus truck. Like you were like,
We're going to, you need a house. Look, I'm going to sell you a house and sing you a song. What else you need?
So you started making all this money. Were you afraid of what to do with it? Were you like, I don't know what to do with it? Or had your financial education like really kicked in by that point?
I was afraid of what to do with it. In the beginning, you don't want to spend it, because you don't know. You've never made that much money. So, and my first, in that particular year, I had made $70,000. Now, to some people, that's not a lot of money, but to me, that was a lot of money. And I didn't know really what to do with it. So I saved majority of it, because Terry had no clue that I was selling real estate so well, because he was so focused on his own career and also making sure that he took care of the household, like his normal duties, his normal role of taking care of the bills and stuff. So it wasn't until we got in front of our tax accountant that he tells the tax accountant, Joe, it ain't no need to just count her. She ain't really making money like that. And Joe was like, "Sir, have you talked to her?" And I'm sitting right there beside him, and I'm just like this. And he was like, "Have you talked to her?" He said, "Aundi did well this year." And he was like, "How well did she do, Joe?" Looking at me, and I was like, and I didn't even know how well I did, because I didn't count it. I just kept putting it in savings. I just saw it stacking. And Joe was like, "She made 70,000." And before I knew it, Terry was like, "She made how?" It was that type of like, what? And and he was like, how much we owe to Uncle Sam? And then he looked, talking about, "Did you put it away? Did you save it? What did you do with it?" So, but I began to become more savvy, especially the more money I made, because I wanted to start investing. I got a financial advisor, which I advise people to do. If you're in the new year and you're trying to figure out what to do with your funds, whether you feel like your funds are limited or not, I'm speaking to you. If you think your funds are limited, honey, don't worry about that, because you need a financial advisor no matter what the situation you're in. So I did have a financial advisor, and I still wasn't ready to do all of what the advisor advised, because I like seeing my money in my account. And I know it's a lot of folks who feel that way. But now, I'm in a better place. I still like seeing my money in my account, but I do give a portion to the financial advisor to do our investments and just continue to grow.
Mm. So, no more starving artists.
Yes.
A lot of us are struggling, especially because of the pandemic. What are some things that we can do to maybe start bringing in more income? Do we need to consider side jobs?
Mhm.
How do we start? Some of us are just lost.
You know what? Let me just tell you, if you are a fan of Beyonce, Jay-Z, J-Lo, look at them. They all have side hustles. It's in beauty, skin products. Um, they have other things that they're doing to continue to have some sort of either passive income or generating income while they're, doing the normal worker bee stuff like we all have to do. So, my advice is to make sure that you get your side hustle. This is the time, especially with this pandemic, we've been shut down. Learn a new skill, get into some sort of online school. Now, the opportunities they're limitless because you have online schools, online educations that you can get anywhere in the world, not just in your city or town or state. Because now everybody and everything is virtual. So don't hesitate with those types of opportunities and don't squander the time. I know, we all went through like a depression, anxiety. I still have some terrible anxiety. It has not gone away.
Mhm.
But we got to put our big girl underwear drawers on and our big boy draws on honey and start figuring out other avenues, other streams. And if you're a musician, you may want to teach. That's one of the easiest transitions you can go into because there's so many children at home right now who need voice lessons or some sort of music lessons or dance lessons or painting or whatever the art form is that you do. Teaching is the easiest transition to get into, and just advertising on Facebook.
Hmm.
And you can make money fairly quickly at that. And then if you just want to get out of your field completely and go into something completely different, you need to do your homework. You need to start looking at what do you do well, what do you enjoy,
Hmm.
and what's going to give you a steady stream of income. There's no need to get in something that's not going to put you in the same predicament.
Mhm. I love all of those things. I'm a big advocate and fan of school, going to school. Actually, that's a lie. I just lied, Jesus. I don't like going to school. However, I think it's important that people do go to school and they get their education. However, also, let us not forget the resource that is YouTube.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You can educate yourself from YouTube. You look, I'm gonna tell you, YouTube is like YouTube University is everything. If there's something I want to figure out, find out, even from the smaller scale to the larger scale, YouTube has the answer or has multiple videos that can at least point you in the right direction. Let's
Mhm.
just say that.
Mhm.
But I'll tell people in a minute, YouTube, you'll be a doctor fooling with YouTube.
Build a house,
Okay.
everything.
Okay. I'm telling you, I love YouTube.
Okay, so I'm going to present to you a situation. Perhaps this person is an artist. They have a trickle of income coming in through unemployment. So after their bills are all paid, they have like a little bit of money. What are some things that they can do to start ensuring like financial stability? Are they saving? Are they putting everything into an emergency fund right away and then doing other things? What do you think?
Well, okay. So it depends. As long as their essential needs are being met. Like if you have money for your housing, you have your food, transportation to get you A, B, and C back home. If those three things are being met, and then you have what's left goes into savings. But if you are having a very tough time right now trying to get these three things met, then savings is out the window. Let me be honest, because you got to have a place to live. You need food. You can't survive without it. And transportation, getting you back to work, home, wherever, whatever the transportation is needed, that's what you need. So if your essentials are not being met, saving right now is off the table. Let me just tell you, is off the table. But if your essentials are being met, and not that you have like a surplus of money, you don't have to have a surplus. It could be $10. Take half of that $10 and put $5. If it's $10 a week, put $5 a week into a savings. I mean, I started that small, to be honest. So it doesn't matter, because it will continue to like snowball, and the money will get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then, as long as you put it away and put it in an account that you cannot see, don't put it in an account that you look at every day, because you'll start picking from it, especially if there's something that you want, is a new pair of shoes or a new wig or a new, let's be real. Okay.
TikTok wigs.
Okay. Honey.
I got that one blonde curly wig. If somebody want to bless me with an old wig.
Okay. Well, a new wig, honey. There's always something out there that you want and that you need, and you'll start to try to pull from that savings that you're trying to snowball. Leave that alone. Put it in an account that you can't see.
So there's no shame if you're struggling with not saving, if you absolutely cannot, because there's so much pressure. A lot of people are talking about being financially stable and about having financial plans, but if you can't do it, you can't do it.
No, and right now you have to survive. We right now, during this pandemic, we are in true survival mode. Not just with your essentials as far as food, shelter, and transportation, but also with just how we're finding ourselves politically being attacked, believing whether you believe the right side or the left side, whatever your beliefs are, we are finding ourselves being attacked with racism, with 45, like really waking the sleeping giant. Now I find myself looking over my shoulder. I do live in the DC DMV area, so I find myself having to, really be mindful not to be out late by myself. Not that I've never felt safe where I am, but now because of just our situation, our life, what's happening, the pandemic, I think everything is just heightened to another degree. Anxiety, stress levels, depression, people are just going crazy, and they don't mean to. And it's just because it's just so much on people. I feel like we have to really take the time to not worry about savings, but just be in a survival mode and just survive through this. Once you survive through this, you'll rebuild. We all will rebuild. It doesn't hurt to make a plan on rebuilding, saying, okay, when I get out of this, I'm going to find a job, or I'm going to be working and doing X, Y, and Z. I'm going to move in with my mom or my dad so that I can save money quicker. You can make a plan. You might not move in with your mom or dad now because they're elderly and you don't want to get them sick. But you can make a plan. You don't have to be trying to save or trying to keep up with all of the trying to be financial savvy about things. Right now, we're just in survival mode. Most of us are.
I was going to speak to what you just spoke to at the end, like making a plan. You can still be watching Financial Freedom Fridays, making notes about what you want to do once you do get the means to save. Like, it's the same type of thought process I have when I do the run of the day. People want to learn how to do ooh, but they don't want to start with ooh. When you create the plan, when you make the way plain in here,
Right.
then it'll come out like you really want it to come out. So it's the same thing with finances.
Well, let me tell you, honey, some folks, I don't care what they do, they ain't gonna come out like that. Okay. I don't care what they do, 'cause the throat ain't touched like yours, okay? So the throat ain't touched. So I don't care what kind of plan they make with their throat, but it ain't gonna come out quite like that.
You know what? You're right.
Okay, because I'd be listening to your run for the day and I'd be like, what? And you do it slow and I'm like, huh? So no, yes, no, I'm joking. But yes, you do have to make a plan.
Yo, speaking about run of the day, I'm also thinking about starting an online class. So if you're interested, email me, slide into my DMs, let me know in the comments if that's something you'd be interested in. I have a class scheduled for February where I'm going to be breaking runs down. I'm going to probably go into the history of riffing and all that stuff. So let me know.
Oh, that's great.
Back to the financials. So how important is an emergency fund, and should we be, if we have extra money, should everything be going toward that?
So your emergency fund should be, I mean, let me just say this. Pandemic, I used to say, 3 to 6 months. Now with the pandemic, you need at least 8 months to a year at this point, because the pandemic has just put a hurting on all of us. However, normally before the pandemic times, you should have at least a good 6-month emergency fund. And what does that mean? 6 months emergency fund is basically if your monthly bills add up to, let's say, $2,000 a month, you need 6 months worth of $2,000 a month. So 6 times 2 is $12,000.
Mm-hmm.
So because you need $12,000 in emergency, that's what it is. That's based off of what your monthly bills. Now, if your bills are $5,000 a month, you need $30,000 in an account that you can grab cash when that emergency comes.
Mm-hmm.
That's the norm. The pandemic now makes me think we possibly should have 8 months to possibly even a year. Because as we can see, the government is not going to save us. More and more of us are in those food pantry lines and churches, hoping that someone will provide food and shelter.
Mm-hmm.
So as we can see, the government, and it's not that they won't save us, it's that they just can't save us all. And this is just something that we are now all experiencing. So that being said, yes, 6 months. But if you're new to saving, start with 3 months. If your monthly bills are $2,000, 3 months of $2,000, that means you're putting away $6,000, and you put it in an account that you do not touch.
Mm-hmm. Step by step. We don't have to eat the whole elephant at one time.
Exactly. One bite at a time.
Okay, so we start with the emergency fund. What will be the next step? We got our $30,000. We good for at least 6 to 8 months. What's next?
So then once you've built that emergency fund, then this is the time that you need to start investing. And when I say investing in stocks, bonds, and if you're not familiar with investing and you need help, get a financial advisor. They can kind of walk you through it. But to be on the safe side, invest in things that Nike, Amazon, Royal Caribbean, Apple. So when you see that those stocks have dropped to a low amount that you are comfortable affording, that's what you'll buy shares in, because that's what gasoline and oil, different oil and gasoline companies, because that cars run on gas. Now, Tesla is trying to take over with all this energy efficiency, but right now they run on gas. So you go with the things that and investing. And also you may want to introduce CDs. Put money away and let the CD mature and grow, and just kind of put it away and forget about it. Mm-hmm. So that's the other thing. If that is not the next step for you, because it's not for everybody. you may want to invest in a true asset, and that is property. Everybody needs a place to live. So if you're renting right now, you know that you have to have a home. Why not invest in a house, apartment, a condo that you actually own, that you can get write-offs on, tax deductions, because you own this property, you're owning it. So that might be your next step. Everybody's journey is a little different. I didn't start investing right away. I went from my emergency fund, saving the money, to purchasing a house. That was my next step, because I knew that I needed a place to live. I was at a crossroads. I didn't want to keep renting. And so I bought a house.
Mhm.
So while you're in this emergency fund saving period, make sure you're looking at your credit. Make sure your credit is at least, here in the DMV, most creditors, you need at least a 640 and higher. There are some that will go as low as 600 credit score, but at least be at a 640. And there are programs available to you, first time home buyer programs, that you can actually purchase a house, and they'll give you money to purchase a home. But they're very specific of where you might have to live, what type of home you may have to buy. However, it's an investment, and you can live there a couple of years and decide, okay, I don't want to live here anymore. I'm going to sell it and make money off of it, or I'm going to keep it, rent it out, and buy something else. And so that over there can be making you money, passive income. So it really depends on where you are and what your journey is.
I love it. I love it. And from what I've heard, I'm not investing yet, but I'm on my way because, you're my sister. So my emergency fund has been built. Through a pandemic, God has been good.
Thank you.
There are like different apps out there that will allow you, and maybe you can just do this normally, but to buy fractions of a share. So let's say Apple is, $3,000. If you have 1,000, then you get a third of that share and you can start building that way.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I love it. I love it. Talk to me about affirmations, money affirmations, or just affirmations in general, because I'm sure that through this financial journey, there were times when you were low. There were times, even with the money that you were making, that you were like, God, I don't know how I'm going to make this work. How did they play a part in your life?
So I have been like this since my 20s. So I've been like this for a long time. I didn't realize that these were money affirmations until one of my good girlfriends, Liz Stevens, said to me, do you know that you always, anytime you say you need some money, it just come to you? And I was like, what you talking about, girl? But it was true. If I said, God, I need $400 and I need you to send it my way today, I promise you it will be in my mailbox, or it will be somebody owed me money and they paid it back to me and I may have forgotten. I don't care. I mean, however, if I say I needed it, it was provided in some way. And so I just speak it, and I don't believe anything else. I believe that it's going to come. I believe that it's going to pass. So if you truly believe it, and I know this sounds ridiculous, but putting it out there in the universe, my higher power is God, but putting it out there, and I say, God, I need, this amount to get me out of this foolishness, or I need this so that I can get to the next whatever. It's provided.
Mm.
It's provided. And so if you start just speaking it out loud, you can't just be quiet about it. Don't say it in your head, because the devil will get in your head and say, stop asking for that, because you're not going to get it.
You
But
don't deserve it.
right. You don't deserve it. You're not good enough. Stop. But if you begin to just speak it out loud and just really say it, God, I need such and such and such, or, and, I'm in need of, if I could get this to get me out of this type of debt. Those are the type of things I'll say, I need to get out of this amount of debt. And I'll write it down. I need to be out of blah, blah debt and I'll put time frames. Always put a time frame. Okay. Because God is funny about that. He'll be like, oh, you are right now. But put a time frame, put a time on it. and I have to say it's provided. So I do believe in that. And sending those positive affirmations to yourself, saying, just like how you have to say, I'm beautiful, you also need to say, I'm rich. I'm rich.
Mm,
Money comes easily to me.
mm,
And you have to believe that. And if you don't believe it, say it enough until you do. That's what you need to do. Say it enough until you do. Get in
mhm,
front of that mirror and say, I'm enough. I have everything that I need.
mm.
I'm rich. And the reason why I can tell you this is because it's what I do still today. Some days I believe it, some days I don't. I'll be like, oof. But I get in front of that mirror and I say those things to myself. And I have to say, thank you, God. I have not suffered financially through the pandemic. All of my needs have been met. All of my needs. And I'm an independent contractor. All of my needs have been met. And that is something that I prayed about, is something that I spoke over my life on a regular basis. And I'm grateful. Now, that doesn't mean I didn't have struggle. That doesn't mean I didn't have strife. But all of my essential needs were met. I may not have been able to save that month. I may not have been able to buy that extra blah, 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 or done this extra da, da, da. But my needs were met. My children's needs were met. Nothing went lacking. That was what was important to me, especially in 2020.
There is nothing like getting in that mirror and saying, I am whole
Mm.
and complete.
Say what?
There's no lack. I am beautiful. Everything is always working out for me. Money just comes to me easily. And even if you don't believe it,
Hmm.
hey, don't let that stop you. That's why I love the ideas of mantras and reinforcing that thing. Write it down, put it on the mirror, put it on your cell phone. Like, I totally believe in all that. And I have dealt with a lot of unbelief, but when I'm serious and when I keep saying that thing, it comes to me. It has no choice.
Hmm.
Because our words are powerful.
They are. Words are powerful. Words are powerful. So yeah.
So you recently did a video about flex culture, like, Louis Vuitton, Michael Kors, Lexus,
Right.
BMW. Have you ever been caught up in that? Have you ever looked? Because it's easy in the age of social media for people to look at someone and say, wow, they're really living the life. I don't have that. Let me get something on credit. Was that ever a struggle for you?
No, I'm not into like name brands and things like that. Now, I am a Walmart shopper. However, I do go to boutiques to buy like special little things when I have to do, performing, because that's my job. But getting into Michael Kors and all of that, if I have those things, it's because someone purchased them for me. Now, as far as my luxury vehicle, my Lexus is 2011. Her hips is old, okay? And I'm gonna drive her until the wheels fall off because I don't want another car payment. Now, when the wheels fall off, then I'll have to be looking for my new car. And of course, I want something in that luxury model because that's what I'm used to. But my boo, she old. So that doesn't, name brands and stuff don't attract me in that way.
Hmm.
Now, where I spend my money, my quality of life. Um, if I'm going on travel, I'm going to spend it on a really nice hotel, or I'm going to spend it, to make sure that my travel is comfortable. I may have to spend an extra $100 to do a straight flight instead of, stopping here, there to get there. That's how I spend my extra money, but it's definitely not on name brands. I spend my money for like more so convenience.
Mm, mm. So I just know that there's somebody out there that's like struggling. Like, should I put money in my emergency fund, or should I, get this watch or whatever? And so my thought about it is that you just have to realize that it's going to take time. You may not be
Mhm.
there today, but if you keep stacking your bread, if you keep watching, Financial Freedom Friday, keep, doing what you can, you'll get there one day.
Yes. And I mean, the other thing that, I mean, just because you're stacking your emergency fund, you're just putting 10% of your income in there. The rest, if you see something that you like, I'm not saying deprive yourself. Like Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman, those people, and I love them and I love some of their advice, but they definitely believe in take care of this first, your emergency fund, your savings before you buy anything else. I don't live by that. I can't live by that. So that's why I say, no, long as you have your plan, I'm going to put 10%, 12% away. And then this over here, I have enough to be able to purchase my whatever that may be that you've been waiting or holding or saving for.
Child, deprivation does not work for me. It's kind of like a rubber band. I can only go so far, and then I'm going to snap back.
Okay.
All the things that I wanted to buy. Well, let's be honest. I'm going to eat all the things.
It's okay. We all in that same boat because I enjoy a good meal.
This has been so awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in. Demantra, what's up, bro? Thank you.
Demantra, Mia.
All right, so we just went through a pandemic, and we need to be prepared for when things go awry.
Yes.
So do you have any ideas of like something we could maybe buy or purchase to help us like have everything in one place?
Yes, I actually, through this pandemic, because so many of our people, and when I say our people, African Americans, started passing away due to the COVID, and it was unexpected, and we weren't prepared. So I created what you would call an emergency binder. In your emergency binder, you can order it actually on Etsy. In your emergency binder, I have, tips on how to use it, household information, family, utilities, medical, all of this is there. I think you can see it. So when you actually go on Etsy to purchase the emergency binder, everything is in one place. Your insurances, your accounts. So God forbid when someone pass away, this binder exists, and you must tell someone that you trust where it is. You can download the binder, and it's fillable online, or you can print it out and write it out by hand. It's up to you how you would like to handle it.
So I just put the link in the comments. Check it out. And they can also find it on Etsy by searching for Aundi Marie Moore.
Yep, they can find it on. No, they can find it on Etsy by searching Realty Diva, because that's what I'm on, Realty Diva. One word, Realty Diva on Etsy, and you can find it there. But it's a whole book for you to put your information in.
I love it.
Thank you.
Stop out there and do all the things.
Look, I want to help my people because, a lot of us don't know about it. Emergency binders have been existing. So this is not a new concept at all. But I know, especially in the African-American community, we don't really talk about this. And when grandma and them pass away, we don't even know where she put the stash. We don't know anything. And we find ourselves in a tailspin. And the other part of it is that a lot of, finances, estate, all of that stuff goes to the state. If they don't plan it out, it will go to the state that your person lives in. Mm-hmm. So why not put it all in one place so that your loved ones know what you have, your accounts, how much money you have to help you or help with the emergency when life emergencies come.
So go cop that. Everybody.
Yes, go buy.
My sister.
I've launched it now on your show, Damon Speak. I'm so proud of it. It's downloadable, and once you print it out, just put it in a 3-ring binder. Is that easy? And then hide it somewhere because it will have your account numbers. Your assets, it'll have that information in one place. So you want to make sure that whoever you're telling where this is, where it's located, is someone that you really, truly trust.
Okay. This has been amazing. I just love you.
I love you too.
and you're gorgeous and you have a beautiful spirit and you've always been there for me. You're always watching my things and supporting me. Tell us, how can we support you? What's coming up next? Where can we find you?
Yeah, well, AundiMarieMoore.com is my website, www.AundiMarieMoore.com. Also, I'm on Twitter as well as Facebook and Instagram. And for Twitter, I am Aundi Marie Moore. For Instagram, I'm also Aundi Marie Moore at Aundi Marie Moore. And my Facebook is Aundi Marie Moore-Barnett. That's my personal page. And my fan page, of course, is Aundi Marie Moore. So you can find me there. And if there's any questions that you guys may have, or just need help to be pointed in the right direction, because I want to make sure you know I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just here to drop the seeds and hope that you will water them and create your own garden. So feel free to reach out to me on Messenger.
And if you happen to be on YouTube, she also has a YouTube channel, Aundi Marie Moore.
Aundi Marie Moore, can't forget it.
You can find all the Financial Freedom Fridays, her singing up an aria.
Or two.
Or two.
Yes.
Do you have any final words for the people tonight?
I just want to say thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed my time with you as always, brother. But I just also want to tell you guys, you know, being financially savvy is not rocket scientists. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to do this. Just take small steps. And the more you take those small steps, you'll make a huge return for yourself. It'll just start to snowball and you'll become even more savvy. I have to say, I was not super duper smart in saving money. And it wasn't until I got into a situation that I needed to have a plan. So this is the time to start planning. The mantra just asked, what is a good age that you think people should definitely look into considering being a homeowner? As soon as possible. If you can afford a house, if you have money at 18, why not? As soon as possible. Investing in a property is one of the biggest assets you can have. And it's one of the ones that gives you the most return the quickest. Like stocks and bonds and things, they go up and down, up and down. For the most part, yes, real estate will go up and it will go down, but your return to the investment is quicker than anything else you can ever buy.
I love it. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to reach out to Aundi at Aundi Marie Moore on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, because she's just out there like that. I love you all. Thank you again for tuning in. Next week, I will be having Christy Johnson on the show. She's going to be talking about the mindset behind being wealthy, the mindset that we go through, especially when we were raised in environments where wealth wasn't a thing, or we always feel like we have to give it to everyone else before we give to ourselves. So make sure you tune in to the Damon Speaks Show next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube and Facebook. While you're at it, wherever you are, like this video, do me a favor, share it with someone that may need it. Subscribe on YouTube. I appreciate all the love and all the support. I'm so grateful. And with that, we're going to say goodnight.
Good night. Thank you for having me.